The city of Austin is one step closer tonight to hiring a new police chief, but some local groups are not altogether happy with the decision. Joining us now is Chaz Moore with the Austin Justice Coalition. Chaz, thanks for taking the time tonight.
Thank you for having me, Brian.
Absolutely. Let's start with this. I want to start with a headline from the Justice Coalition statement about interim chief Joseph Chacon. The headline reads, "Expectations and concerns abound after Chacon named Austin's next police chief." Explain what the concerns are.
Well, you know, I think the main concern is that he potentially represents more of the same. He represents a police department that has historically not got things right. He represents a racist, misogynistic police department. And that may not necessarily be who he is, but like that's the thing that come along with APD. And also I think another concern is something that I think Spencer Cronk earlier is this idea that he can't be fired if he does not meet up to the standards and requirements that both the community and the city will have of him. So, a few, I would say, logical concerns. But, other than that, I think this is a decision that most people can live with.
The Austin Police Association issued a statement today also saying the city missed an opportunity to perhaps hire a strong female leader as the next police chief. Who would you have liked to have seen APD hire in this instance? I think APD, I would have liked to see them hire somebody that understands that policing in 2021, policing in 2020 is not the same way it was in 92, 94, definitely not 80s or the 70s. I think the police association wanted somebody that was going to be pro-police. I think they wanted the person that said they didn't see racism in the police department, which makes sense to me. Of course they want that person, right? I think the person for the job was either Avery Moore or Chief Chacon. I think Avery Moore got the institutionalized, racism aspects of policing more than anybody because of the story he shared during the interview process. And I think that's most important, right? Just somebody that can understand that the city of Austin, both on the community level and the city official level, we want Austin to be the best police department, but we also want to try different things, right? We want to try different aspects of public safety. We want to try different resources when it comes to mental health and safety. We want to try different things when it comes to parks and recs, and we want to have resources available to take the burden of public safety off of just solely the police department. So, I think that's the police chief we need, and hopefully Chacon can be that guy. Final question, you mentioned the times that we're in. Of course, this choice comes after months of controversy for APD surrounding police shooting, allegations of brutality. Austin's also seen a spike in gun violence and murders this year specifically. What direction, you mentioned a little bit about it, but if you could go into further the direction you hope to see the department go in to fix the problems that we're seeing currently.
Well, it's a couple things here, right? I think a lot of people are not realizing that we are seeing a rise in gun violence and in homicide, but when you look at the overall population of the city, it's nothing in comparison to like what it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. The fact of the matter is this, like the issues we're seeing with homicide and gun violence are not going to be solved by policing, right? Like no matter if we have 1 million cops, people are going to commit crime, right? I used to work downtown. I still frequent downtown to go see friends that work on Dirty 6th Street and whatnot. And, it's downtown 6th Street is the most heavily policed part of this city. And yet and still people are still getting shot and people are still put in harm's way. So I think there are other underlying issues that's a part of society. Again, mental health, jobs, all the type of things. People are still trying to reconcile with trying to survive in a pandemic. We're still trying to figure out a way to get back to normal. So there are a lot of undertones and underlying issues that also contribute to why the crime rate and homicide rate may be going up. But it has nothing to do with policing. But I also think. I would like to hear, Chief Chacon, if he's going to be confirmed in next week. I think he has to know that, right? I think he knows, and I've heard him say this a couple of times, that you can't police your way out of public safety, right? Like Austin is a growing city, and I think it'll be foolish or unwise of us to think that
the only way we kind of cure these ills of becoming a big city, a real big city now, is through policing. Like, we have to find different ways to meet different needs for people. And that's not all policing. That's making sure we have, the proper money in Austin Public Health, the proper money and resources in EMS, the proper resources in libraries and pools, the proper money in, quite literally, like there's data to prove that more well-lit neighborhoods are more safe. So like, let's try that approach as well. And there's a litany of things we can do outside of policing that will keep people safe, because we know, just quite honestly, that policing, based on who you are and what you look like if you're a Black person like me that loves being Black and has Black friends and Black family and Black, I work with Black people, your interactions with police 9 times out of 10 are going to be completely different than somebody that doesn't feel the same way that I feel. And that's okay, but we have to talk about those things, and we have to be honest enough to have those conversations. And I think once we are able to have those conversations, we can find different ways to address public safety outside of just policing. So I think that's the type of chief we need as well, somebody that can understand that public safety doesn't solely belong to policing. Like, it's a community thing, it's a society thing, and it's going to take all hands on deck to make sure we can keep Austin safe, keep Austin weird, and all the things we love about Austin.
Important conversation. Chaz Moore with the Austin Justice Coalition. Chaz, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us here on KVUE tonight.
Thank you so much, Brian.